us printing out p.y and p.x can be a bit tiresome, right? Not so much when we have a class point that's so simple, right, that only has two instance variables. But what about if it had more instance variables, like 20 of them, and I wanted to check that all of them were set correctly? Right? Then here I would need to print all 20 of the instance variables and say, hey, is it right? Is it correct? Right? Are they the values that I gave to the constructor? So what we have is we have another special method, right? And this special method is called str. So I'm going to come over to the point class and say def underscore underscore str underscore underscore. And what str is a special method that returns the values of the instance variables of the object in an easily read format. And what does easily read mean? It means format labeled. Okay, so it labels the values of the instance variables. All right. And str, it returns a string. Returns a string. All right. So let's go ahead and see how that looks. First, let's go ahead and make our string. I'm going to say s is equal to, and what are my instance variables? It's x and y. Well, how do I have access to them, right? Well, self is going to be the object that's calling the method, right? In every method except for the constructor, self is the object calling the method, right? In my main, I only have p, so of course p is going to be the one calling the str method. So p is going to call it. That means self is p, right? Self is the object that has 3 as the x and 5 as the y. And so if I want to make that string here, how would I do it? I would first label. I would say my x is. I would add the object's x plus y colon plus the object's y. Right? Now we have a string that has the values of the instance variables labeled. That's what str should do. All right. Now remember, x and y are integer values, right? So in order to concatenate onto these strings, we need to str them. So I'm going to str that. I'm going to str this one. So now all of our operands are strings. That's a string, that's a string, string, string. The plus signs are going to concatenate them all together. And now our s is equal to the string that we want, and we can return s. Okay, great, perfect. So that's what str should do. It should return a string that has the values of the instance variables of this object labeled. Right? Okay, now how do I call the str method? Well, the way you call it is you print the object. You see that? Line 15. We print the object p. It's going to jump up to line 6. Self is the object calling the method. In this case, line 15, the object calling the method is p. It's going to jump up here. Self is p. And it's going to use p's x and p's y to create the string and return the string. Return the string where? Return it to where it was called. And where was it called? Right here, inside the print. So this string that we made is going to return right inside the print, and it's going to print out to the screen. Okay? So let's go ahead and run that. And you can see it does it right here, easily labeled. All right. Now it's not so helpful when our program is so simple, right? But what if we had a whole bunch of points, right? And we were programming, and we were like, hey, what about this point 35, right? This 35th point that we have. Well, I'm not sure what its x and y are. Well, we could go ahead and just print p35, and it would print out its x and y values here, so I can continue programming without having to print out the x and print out the y. Okay. So that's what str is. Why don't we go ahead and add that to your program before moving forward.